The next morning, Eleanor went to the police station. But when she asked to reopen the case, the officer hesitated. "Mrs. Hayes," he said quietly, "we closed that file over a decade ago. There was no evidence of foul play." She showed him the video. His expression shifted. First disbelief, then discomfort. "Where did you get this?" he asked. Eleanor hesitated. "It was hidden," she said softly. "Inside my granddaughter's blanket." That same evening, she received a phone call from an unknown number. When she answered, there was nothing but breathing, slow, deliberate heavy breathing. Then a man's voice. "You should have left it buried." The line went dead. Her hands shook. She locked every door and sat by the window until dawn. The next day, she called a journalist, Daniel Carter, a man known for chasing forgotten truths. Together, they examined the footage, the old reports, the crash photos. They found what the police had missed or ignored. The brake lines on Thomas's car had been cut, not broken. The mechanic's report had been falsified. And one name kept appearing in old financial documents. Richard Lyle, Thomas's former business partner. Richard had inherited everything after the accident. The company, the properties, even Thomas's insurance claim. Eleanor's grief turned to fury. The truth wasn't lost. It had been buried by someone with power, money, and guilt. Weeks passed as Daniel gathered more proof. And one stormy evening, he called her greater than. "We got him," he said. "There's enough to reopen the case." The next months were a blur of hearings, statements, and sleepless nights. When Richard Lyle was finally arrested, the truth came out. He had discovered Thomas planned to expose him for embezzlement. So he staged the crash and paid an officer to erase the evidence. 12 years of lies, undone by a mother's persistence and a blanket meant for a baby. On the day the court announced the verdict, Eleanor didn't cry. She simply went home, walked into Grace's room, and sat on her bed, holding that same blue blanket. Grace came in quietly, confused but smiling. "Grandma," she said, "why are you crying?" Eleanor looked at her, saw both Thomas and Rebecca in her eyes, and whispered, "Because, sweetheart, your parents can finally rest." The sun broke through the clouds outside, pouring light through the window. For the first time in 12 years, Eleanor felt peace. The truth had cost her everything, but it had given her back her son's memory. And as she folded the blanket once more and placed it in the box, she smiled faintly. "Greater than. Some secrets," she said softly, "are never meant to stay hidden."